It's a visualization. Bear with me while I get my camera adjusted here. It's a channeled visualization from the Orion star, beneficent beings from Orion. And this visualization is extremely important. It goes very deep to womb injuries, such as birth stories. Greetings, Zena Electra. The purpose of the visualization is to help us, for those who have anything from wounds stemming from your birth to your mother's pregnancy with you, to early childhood trauma. But all of these things can help, can sometimes prevent us from receiving the things that we desire while we're here. It can cause us to have resistance to even being in the earth realm, resistance to being fully human. So sometimes if you have a traumatic birth, for instance, this can set up an early pattern of resistance to being here. And when that is the case, you can begin to block yourself from receiving love, from receiving abundance, just because you're resistant to even being in the earth realm, resistant to the human experience. Okay. And as we all know, being human can be messy. It can be messy. So when these things happen early on, whether it's that your mother had mixed emotions about her pregnancy, the circumstances under which she became pregnant, fear while carrying you, fear about you coming here, fear about being able to care for you. If there was a traumatic birth in which you almost died or your mother almost died, or if you were premature. I had those type of wounds myself. And there came a point in my journey where I realized that these things had set up resistance within me to being here, fear because of the way that I came here in an emergency situation. Okay. So this visualization will be very helpful for those who have resistance to being on the planet Earth. And it doesn't matter whether that resistance is conscious, subconscious, early childhood, gestation, birth, any of those things. Okay. But this is a very significant, very deep visualization that is wonderful for helping, especially star seeds, and if you have Orion lineage, this may have a special resonation for you in your energy field. It may resonate especially strongly in your energy field, but this can be helpful for anyone who has a resistance to being in the earth realm, right? There's a really good song called Earth is a Ghetto that one of my friends shared with me one time, and I listened to it and I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize that I was having such resistance to my total surroundings, right? But that can very easily be the case, especially when you carry soul memories of lifetimes elsewhere, somewhere more peaceful, somewhere where there was not the illusion of separation, or this degree of the illusion of separation, right? Sometimes our soul is carrying that memory. We can remember what it felt like to be somewhere else. And sometimes we are subconsciously comparing this experience here to that experience there. Okay. So perhaps you do realize that you're doing that, or perhaps it's dawning on you now as you hear me say these words, that you've been drawing that comparison in your mind and in your heart energetically, and you're saying, wow, I do have that memory. I am making that comparison, and I like to release that. Okay, so I just wanted to give that bit of context, that bit of background information. This visualization came to me when a friend of mine asked me to give a visualization for an event that she was hosting on welcoming love, on letting in love, rising in love, right? This was a friend of mine, Myra Lofton, who has a YouTube channel, Heartbreak Healer. And I was expecting for the visualization to be a bunch of fluffy talk about love, right? A bunch of fluffy talk about love, and it didn't come out that way. It didn't come out that way, but I always ask my divine guidance, what is it that the people need to hear? What is it that the audience needs to receive? And this is what I got. So now I want to share this with you. Okay, so let's go ahead, you all, and begin some deep breathing. I do encourage you to close your eyes and follow the sound of my voice. Become as relaxed as you can possibly allow your body to be while still keeping your spine erect. You can do this by sitting in a chair with your back supported. You could do this by laying out flat. Do know that if you lay out flat, you're more likely to kind of go into a in-between state of in-between sleep and awake, but that's totally fine. Okay? I am encouraging you though to stay conscious with this and allow yourself to repeat after me as we get into the statements for clearing that resistance to the earth realm. But if you choose to, you can just listen and follow along with your mind. Let's take some deep breaths in through the nose for a count of 4 and out through the mouth. Again, in through the nose for a count of 4 and out through the mouth. As you do this, ignore my puppy making sounds in the background. As you do your deep breathing, notice the support of the chair beneath you or the ground beneath you if you've chosen to lay down. And allow this support beneath you to represent the support of Source, God, Creator, the support of the divine guidance in your life, the support of Mother Gaia that has agreed to provide everything that we need in the physical while we are here. As you continue your deep breathing, allow your attention to settle into your heart space. One thing that's going to be different about this visualization is we are going to give some instructions to our subconscious mind. And all you have to do is listen and receive those instructions. You don't have to do anything. We just want you to focus on being right now. We'll be giving instructions to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind will know what to do with these instructions. So just focus on being open. As we settle into our heart space, which vibrates in a beautiful green glow. Our instructions to our subconscious mind are to raise our vibration to 432 hertz. 432 hertz. This is a healing frequency. It is a gateway to physical, emotional, and mental healing. 432 hertz is a gateway to the mystical, pattern recognition, decoding, unlocking keys for self-mastery and forgiveness. Self-forgiveness. We're going to go into some clearing statements here. I'm going to say them slowly, so you have the option of saying them to yourself. And I just want to encourage you that even if you do not have a conscious connection to these words, I encourage you to repeat them and allow them to speak to your subconscious mind. Our first statement is, I forgive myself for the fall. I forgive myself for the fall. I forgive myself for the distance between where I am and where I desire to be. I forgive myself for the distance between where I am and where I desire to be. I forgive myself for the discrepancies between who I am and who I desire to be. I forgive myself for forgetting who I am, and I bridge the gap with love. I call myself unto myself, laying aside all hostility toward who I am, all confusion about who I am, and any judgments of who and what I truly am. I forgive myself for coming to the earth realm. Let's say that one again. I forgive myself for coming to the earth realm. Some of you are experiencing a major release, an energetic release around that statement. So we're going to say it one more time. I forgive myself for coming to the earth realm. I forgive myself for taking on physical form. I forgive myself for the pressure upon entry. I forgive myself for the bloodshed upon entry. And as we allow those statements to settle in our field, let's just continue our deep breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. signaling to our bodies that we are safe. And let's allow our awareness to travel up into the throat chakra, our throat area. Just allow your awareness to settle there in the throat area. Our instructions for our subconscious mind as we envision this beautiful aqua blue energy glowing, warming our throat area. Our instructions to our subconscious mind is to allow our energetic field to vibrate at 500 hertz. 500 hertz. You don't have to do anything. Just accept those instructions. Remain open. If you find it helpful to envision the number 500, that's totally fine. 500 hertz. As we come into the energy of acceptance, let's do some clearing statements around acceptance as I invite you to repeat after me. And I invite you to repeat after me out loud. That is important. I now accept my divine spark. I fully inhabit my body in recognition that it is now safe to be here, fully present, fully aware, fully integrated, fully functional, fully animated. I now accept my divine spark. Ooh, that one gives me chills. Notice what you're feeling in your body as you receive these statements, as you repeat these statements, as you allow these statements to settle in your energetic field. Allow the sensations, the emotions to come, and notice. Notice the feelings that are coming. Notice the emotions that may come. Do not try to block those emotions. Allow those emotions to come up for you. As we continue our deep breathing, let's allow our awareness to settle in the area of the third eye, which is just between the eyebrows. Allow your attention and your awareness to focus there in that area. As we imagine a beautiful indigo blue in this area, as we feel the cool expansiveness of this indigo blue connecting us to our intuition. And the instructions we're giving our subconscious mind is to vibrate at 575 hertz. 575. Just accept that number into your awareness. You don't have to do anything. If you choose to, you can imagine 575, 575. As we come into the energy of recognition, we have some statements of recognition. You may repeat after me. I am curious about this journey. I am curious about this journey. I recognize familiar clues, signs, and symbols I have embedded here for myself. The sights here are familiar. The sights here are familiar. The sounds here are familiar. I recognize waves of contraction, full of information about my environment. Let's say that one again. I recognize waves of contraction, full of information about my environment. Next statement. I recognize waves of expansion, full of information about myself. I recognize waves of expansion, full of information about myself. Let's just allow these statements to settle in, to float, to anchor in, to vibrate freely in our energetic fields. Notice any sensations in your body as we hold our awareness here in our third eye space. If any visions come up for you, allow those. Sights, sounds, symbols. Continue your breathing. Let's move on to the crown chakra. Just allow your attention, your awareness to settle in the crown of your head. Which is literally the area of your head where you would rest a crown. As we begin to imagine a beautiful fuchsia or purple colored glow in this area in the crown of our head, representing our divine guidance. Our instructions for the subconscious mind are to allow our energetic field to begin to vibrate at the frequency of 650 hertz. 650 hertz, just relax and allow. You may imagine 650, the number 650, if you choose to. More importantly, just allow your vibration to rise. As we rise into the energy of remembrance. Remembrance, you guys are doing such a great job. We're almost finished here. As we come into the energy of remembrance, our statements are, I remember my desire to be here. Let's do that one again. I remember my desire to be here. I remember my desire to experience myself in new ways. I remember my desire to see myself through the reflection in the eyes of another. Let's repeat that one more time. I remember my desire to see myself through the reflection in the eyes of another. I remember my desire to mirror myself. I remember my desire to experience the illusion of physical separation from myself. I remember that the experience is only an illusion. I remember that the experience is only an illusion. Beautiful, beautiful work. We have one more segment of phrases. Before we get into the last phase, let's just continue our breathing, holding our awareness in the crown chakra for a few more seconds here. Noticing any sensations that come up in your body, any visions that come up in your energetic field, in your mind's eye. All right, as we honor those experiences, let's move on. Let's go to 12 inches above the crown chakra, and let's just allow our awareness to rest there in the cosmic chakra space. As we imagine a beautiful white glow in this area, 12 inches above our crown chakra. This beautiful, beautiful glow, beautiful white glow. Some may think of it as a halo. Imagine it in a way that's beautiful to you. Make it your own. As we stick with this beautiful white glow, the instructions for our subconscious mind is to allow our energetic field to begin vibrating at 700 hertz. At 700 hertz. Just allow yourself to receive the instructions. You don't have to do anything. Just breathe and allow your vibration to rise into the energy of reclamation. And our statements are, I reclaim my connection to God Creator Source. I reclaim cords of connection, fully inspired, fully open, fully activated. Continue your deep breathing here and keeping that same cosmic chakra open. Let's just begin to brightly broadcast our signal into the cosmos. Just imagine your unique frequency, your signal, sending out the question, who is there? Who is there? So ask this question within your mind, who is there? As we continue our deep breathing, let's notice if we are getting an answer. Let's notice if we are getting an answer. Let's just stay with this a few seconds longer as we continue our deep breathing. If you are receiving an answer, do not push this away. Do not allow your mind to question. Just accept that answer in your heart. As we slowly come back to ourselves, come back into your body, wiggle your fingers and your toes. When you are ready, you may open your eyes and come back into the room that you're in. And we have some beautiful support, some statements of support in the chat. Thank you guys so much for that. We have some questions. Roy asks, why does nobody love me? Roy, you are loved. You are loved. I want to encourage you tonight that you are loved. You are loved. Now, if that love is not showing up in your life in the physical, tangible ways that you would like them to, in the forms of support, in the forms of connection, affection, I want you to ask yourself, do I love me? Do I love me? Am I being intentional with exhibiting love for myself? What are the ways in which I can intentionally exhibit, expand, explore love for myself? Okay. Now, if you are wanting to experience someone desiring connection with you, someone being curious about you, thank you, Roy. I see your support in the chat. If you're wanting, Roy, to experience someone wanting to connect with you and wanting to be curious with you, I want you to begin practices in your life to connect more deeply with yourself. I want you to become more curious about yourself. How do you do that? I want you to begin exploring with creativity. With creativity. This can be creative activities that you do in your life. For example, you see behind me, I just started painting last year. Just started painting. I remembered that when I was a kid, I used to like to draw and color and paint and create all kind of images and pictures. And when I became an adult, I didn't allow time for that anymore. I just was always, into my responsibilities and things that I felt like I had to do. And I stopped being curious about what things I could create, what things I could imagine. I stopped being curious about what was inside of me wanting to come out. And I noticed that I was no longer experiencing people being curious or wanting to connect with me in the way that I would like to experience connection. So I started to become curious about myself again, curious about what I'm capable of, curious about, well, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? Do I agree with the things that are being said around me? Do I agree with the opinions being espoused around me? Do I fit into this box that people expect me to fit in, right? As a woman, as a mom, as an American, as, whatever. Even as a energetic healer, right? So, if you're wanting to experience more connection with others, be more intentional about connecting with yourself. I encourage you to find something that you enjoy doing that's purely based on your creativity, something you're doing purely for enjoyment, and make an appointment with yourself to do that often, an appointment that you won't break. Okay? If anyone else has questions, I welcome those questions at this time. If anybody wants to share in the chat what you felt during that visualization, what you experienced during that visualization, if you discovered some emotions that you didn't know were there, if there were particular statements that really created a shift for you, I encourage you to share those in the chat. And while we're waiting to see if anybody has anything they want to share, I also want to share with you guys that there is a beautiful app that I encourage you to check out. If you enjoy this type of content, there is an app called The Elemental Soul. The Elemental Soul. I'm one of the content creators for The Elemental Soul. And you can find a lot of content like this there. Beautiful array of guided journeys there about all kinds of spiritual topics, all types of energetic healing. Okay. So you can, it doesn't matter if you have Apple or Android, you can download it in the app from the Apple Store or Play Store, The Elemental Soul. Okay. We also have a YouTube channel called The Elemental Soul, so you can check out some more of our content there. We're slowly building content there on our YouTube channel, The Elemental Soul. All right, you all, I don't see any more questions or comments coming in, but I thank you guys so much for being here with me tonight and participating in this visualization. I encourage you to drink plenty of water in the next hour or so to continue to support the moving out, the filtering out of that energy. And just begin to notice in the coming days and weeks, if you feel more open and less resistant to your experience of being a fully formed human, of fully embodying your experience as a human. You may find yourself more accepting of yourself, more forgiving of yourself. You may find yourself feeling more at home in your body and just more at home here on earth and having a more expansive experience of being a human. So, thank you guys so much for joining me. I wish you all the love and the abundance that you desire to experience. And please join me again here on Attracting Love Energy. We do this. We do this segment once a week. Thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. I love you. Thank you so much, love and support in the chat. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful night, and I'll see you next week. Peace and love.